Hi, good morning guys. So I thought I'd show you my morning routine. I'm still figuring out my kitchen filming setup, so forget the weird angle. This is the best I could do without having to use one of my hands to hold the camera. So it is what it is. So today is exactly 1 week from surgery. I'll be filming my 1 week post-op later, but I know at least one of you asked for what I eat in a day, so I will also, that's what I'm doing now. So first thing is I always start with my bottle of water. So this, I've showed you before, it's my Hydro Peak water bottle. I'm not actually drinking out of this, but I'll show you what I do. I already have some ice in here, so I don't know if you can see that. And then I have a packet of Ultima, I don't know how you say this. This is a 0 sugar, 0 calorie electrolyte mix. So I'm gonna put that in here. And then fill it up with water. And then we'll just shake this up to get it all incorporated. This water bottle, you have to like really get the lid on there. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is, I could drink out of this, but since I drink so slowly, it seems a little silly and then it makes it harder to track what I've had. So I've been drinking out of this glass. It's actually an old jam jar instead, but I measured it, and if I fill it up to this sort of brim, that's 10 ounces. So I just kind of use this as my base, and that way I can get the I can put the drink mix in there and it's not too concentrated, and I'm not trying to like divide up the pack evenly. And then I just keep this in the fridge during the day and I'll refill my glass. The other thing I like about using this jam jar is, one, you know, because we can't have straws or anything, it's easy for me to measure it, it's easy for me to drink out of, but since it was a jam jar, I also have a lid for it. So like when I take a break from drinking to, for example, work on my protein shake or something like that, I just pop the lid on this and either stick it in the fridge or the freezer to keep it nice and cold. I have found that my sleeve tolerates pretty much any temperature liquid. I just prefer cold drinks. So that's that. And then the next thing we're gonna do is make our morning protein shake. So I've got my blender bottle. You guys have seen this before. And then I have been taking some probiotics. These were actually sent to me by my cousin because I had IV antibiotics in the hospital. I did develop a case of oral thrush, which is gross, but not super surprising. I always get some sort of reaction from the antibiotics. These, I'll hold them up so you can see. They're kind of a standard gel cap size. I did swallow one the other day, so it is possible, but it was uncomfortable just because you can't take a big swig of liquid to go with it. But since these are just probiotics, you can open up the capsules. So I just open them up. They don't taste like anything. So I just put it straight into my protein shake. So I'm gonna put this in here, and then I'll mix it around with a little bit of water just to keep it from being too clumpy. All right, so there are a little bit of clumps, but it's not that big of a deal. They honestly, they don't taste like anything. I've done this a few times now. And then I'm gonna put in my almond milk. I have actually been using fat-free Fairlife milk, which I prefer because it gives me the extra protein. But when I went to the store yesterday, they didn't have any. So what are you gonna do? And I didn't feel like going to another store. So this is the Silk Unsweet Vanilla Almond Milk, 30 calories per 1 cup. I'm having 4 ounces, which is half a cup. And then the other thing I've been doing, just to double down on the probiotics, is using some kefir, I don't know how you say it. If you don't know what this is, it's basically a sort of like a yogurt drink, but it's got a bunch more probiotics than regular yogurt. So this stuff is really good. The one thing I will say is it's really hard to find one that's flavored, that doesn't have a bunch of added sugar, but I'm just using the plain unflavored kind. So this is not very good on its own. It's very tart, almost like buttermilk. But I just put it into my protein shake, and I do 2 ounces of this. And that gives the protein shake some extra creaminess. It gives you those probiotics, and it does have a little bit of protein in it. So 1 cup has 11 grams of protein. Obviously, I'm only using 2 ounces, which is about a quarter of a cup. So it's like an extra two and change grams of protein. But I do find it really improves the taste of the protein shake. Plus, it's got all those great probiotics. So what's not to like? Oh, and then because this is my morning one, I put coffee in it. I think on my last What I Eat in a Day, I did a shot of espresso. That works too. I just try to save those espresso pods because they're really expensive, and who knows if I'll ever have someone over who like drinks decaf and wants an espresso. But this is just a jar that I had. Also a former jam jar. As you can tell, I kind of like hoard my jars because they're so handy. But I ended up buying some Starbucks Via decaf, and so this is just a packet of that with some water. I don't drink the whole thing because it's too much, but I do 2 tablespoons of the coffee in here. And this stuff is pretty strong. I think it's an Italian roast, so it's pretty dark, pretty bold, and it's just enough to give the drink a nice burst of coffee. And then I also do about 2 pumps of the Torani S'mores sugar-free. And I will say, before this, I didn't drink the s'mores syrup. I would sometimes have like some vanilla or something if I made a latte. But I think I've mentioned to you guys this vanilla cornerstone stuff. I'm still drinking this. Is not my favorite, and so I needed something with a little bit of a stronger flavor. So I've been using the s'mores for that. It works fine. It's just what I was able to find that I thought would work well, but you know, I think other flavors would work fine too. Anyway, yeah, I am still drinking this cornerstone vanilla stuff. I've come to a place of acceptance, resignation, Stockholm syndrome, I don't know what you want to call it, with this stuff. It really doesn't bother me anymore. I think I'm just so used to it now after, you know, 3.5 or 3 weeks of drinking it. So I do just 1 scoop of this. If you'll recall, prior to surgery, I was doing 2 scoops with 8 ounces of almond milk or Fairlife milk. Now I'm just doing 1 post-op, and I'm supposed to be doing about 4 of these a day. I've yet to get to 4. I still am usually doing 3, but especially when I was doing the Fairlife milk, I was meeting all my protein needs without any issue. Alright, so that's that, and then I'm going to take this little spoon that actually came with some little like condiment cups, stainless steel condiment cups that I ordered. It came with this little spoon. It's almost more like a spade. I've been using this for like everything since surgery because it's really, I don't know if you can tell, it's like barely dips down at all. So I really like this because it keeps me from taking bites that are too big. I basically just like stick this in there, swish it around whatever I'm eating, and like just kind of like lick off the residue, and that's a good size bite. I'm super paranoid about taking a bite that's too big or whatever. So this little spoon is good. I do also have some other like toddler size spoons that I use. I do mix this up first before I put the shaker ball in, because I've just found if I put the shaker ball straight in, a bunch of the powder clumps at the top. So I just mix this up. Go back to that. And yeah, that's the shake. That comes out to about 8 ounces. I count the fluid that I added towards my liquid goal for the day, so that was about 7 ounces with the almond milk, the yogurt, the kefir, and the coffee. I don't count the powder because even though that increases this total volume, it was just powder. So that's it. I'm just going to shake this up, and then I'll add some ice, and that'll be breakfast. So yeah, I think that's all I have to show you right now. I'll be back later. Bye. So it's about 10:30. I have finished my first protein shake that I showed you guys, and I've also finished my first glass of water with the Ultimate in it. So I'm going to refill that and then stick it in the fridge to get nice and cold. It's pretty chilly here today. And I'm feeling a little snacky. So I've decided to make some bone broth. I've showed you guys this before, this bare bones bone broth mix. I already cut the lid off this. So I'm just gonna, sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed. Put that in my Ember mug. I've also shown you guys that before. And then stir. I told you guys I'm using this spoon for everything. And there it is. So I'll sip on this for a little while. The mug will keep it warm for me. I might mix it up a little bit more. I don't know if I got it all. But that's about it. This mug does hold 10 ounces, but I'm thinking with the evaporation from the steam, it'll probably be a little less than that. So I'll probably count this as 8 ounces of clear liquid. Hey guys, I also just wanted to show you, even though I'm making the beef bone broth, that bare bones powder that I just showed you, you know, you're not limited to those options. I also bought myself some of these Swanson sipping bone broths in different types of chicken stock or chicken broth. So these are the two I haven't drank yet. I bought 3 of them. This one is chicken with ginger and turmeric, and this one is chicken with lemon and rosemary, and then I bought one that was just plain chicken bone broth, and I already drank that one, and it's pretty good. So I do have some variety, and don't feel like if you don't like beef broth or you just don't like the idea of the powdered stuff or whatever, that you're stuck. These were really good. So that's another option you have, and also gives you some variety. It's lunchtime, and I didn't show you guys, but I finished the bone broth that I showed you, and then I also drank another 10-ounce glass of water. I ended up adding a packet of Crystal Light to my water bottle and adding a little more water. I just wasn't crazy about that lemonade Ultima that I put in there, so I did add the Crystal Light. I don't do that every day. I think that's only the second time since surgery that I've had one of those, but it's kind of a nice treat every now and then. So for lunch, we're making a protein shake. I'm not going to show you how I make it because it's basically the same as this morning. So I've got my blender bottle. We're going to do a chocolate shake this time. So I've got the chocolate powder here, and I'll do the same thing I did this morning with the almond milk and the kefir. I'm not going to add any coffee or the pill probiotics this morning, like I did this morning. And then I'll also add a little bit of this sugar-free raspberry syrup to give it like a chocolate raspberry flavor. And that'll be lunch. It's about 1:30 and I was feeling kind of hungry. And so what I made here is I just heated up some cream of wheat that I actually made this the other day. I just made like 1 serving according to the instructions with some fat-free Fairlife milk. I made this the other day before I ran out. And then I've eaten it in thirds. So this is the third and last serving of that I made. So it's just a little over 2 ounces of the actual prepared cream of wheat that I've then heated up and thinned out with some additional water, and added a little bit, like just a little bit less than half an ounce of shredded like Mexican cheese is what I had in the fridge. And I'm gonna eat this. I've had this before and it's out really well. And it tastes really good. So this is what I'll be having. It's 3:30. I've finished my 3rd glass of water, and now I'm going to have some of these. I'm going to mix these 2 drinks. So the first thing, this is from Pressed Juicery. This is their 45 calorie sweet greens. I think this is a fairly new addition to their lineup. So you can see it's got cucumber, celery, spinach, monk fruit, and lemon. This doesn't taste too bad on its own, But I'm going to mix it with this Protein 2.0 just because it helps me get my protein in. I got this at Costco. This is a Costco limited edition flavor, watermelon strawberry, or strawberry watermelon. Each bottle of this has 20 grams of protein. I was a little hesitant about buying this because I've seen so many videos where people have tried the protein waters and said that they're gross. But since it was Costco and you can always return it if you don't like it, I decided to take the chance. And I will say it's better than I thought. The flavor itself is actually pretty good. It kind of tastes like a Snapple. But I really don't like the mouthfeel of it, which is not surprising. It leaves kind of a chalky texture in your mouth. Just from the protein, since it doesn't have anything like creamy or anything to bind to. But it's been helpful for getting some extra protein in. And these two, I've mixed them together before and they actually go pretty well together. So I'll just fill my glass up, half Protein 2.0 and half green juice. And we'll drink that and then I'll come back at you at dinner time. Hi friends, it's a little bit after 5 o'clock, maybe 5:30, and it's dinner time. For dinner, we are going to be having, or I'll be having, this split pea soup. So if you have listened to any of my other stuff before, I've mentioned that I made split pea soup as a pre-op meal prep and then took a portion of that and blended it and divided it into these little wide mouth jars. This is probably a little bit less than a cup that's in here. So that's what I'm going to be having tonight. And just to boost the protein content, I'm going to put a scoop of Gene Pro in it. This stuff is great because you need a lot less than standard. Sorry, let me show it to you. Gene Pro. Standard protein powders. And that little scoop, which you can see it's probably like about the size of a tablespoon, gets you 30 grams of protein. So I'm going to mix that in here and that'll be dinner.